Hi, welcome to this Kickstarter preview video for Ryozen. Ryozen is the latest title from Tabula Games. It's a game about worker placement like no other. It's a fantastic worker placement with a spin. It evolves around a magical, fantastic era, a kingdom where animals have superpowers and they're trying to make their realm flourish. They're doing that over 3 rounds during their sleep of their queen, the Radiant Phoenix, and they're representing a clan, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the best out of it, gaining the most favor with their accomplishments, so that when the Phoenix Queen wakes up, awards them with the most favorable clan title, and so that they win the game. Now, the game features a lot of well-known mechanisms that we've seen in other games, but it's doing it in a very, very unique way. So worker placement being one of those, and workers of different type of workers being a second one, but also some management and some engine building as well, all evolving around a very, very interesting and I would say gorgeous to look at board from the fantastic kingdom, the fantasy kingdom of Ryozen, where we have the Phoenix Palace in the center of it, a 3D structure which rotates and giving opportunities to be exploited from the players depending on the location of the palace. But that's only a small portion of it, because players essentially are managing their clan. They have a handful of clan tokens with some generic abilities at the beginning, and then they try to build up their clan, so they're trying to replace their basic clan members with more strong, with more versatile, with more abilities and more powerful clan members that they do additional things by placement on top of the day, night or night phase effects, so that they are very, very welcome. So I think I'm rushing, but I'm trying to give you a very, very fast intro on what the game is about. First of all, I would start from the fact that this is I would say a worker placement like no other. This is a game that it's fairly more simple than what we have used from Tabula Games, but that doesn't mean that there is less depth. It's a bit strange to describe. The rules are less, the design is simpler, and it's straightforward, I would say, but the combination of the various aspects provides so many possibilities. And the fact that minor things like the fact that you can either place your clan member, your clan token, when you're sending it as a worker placement action, either face up or face down, giving you different options. Face down means that you have more influence to gain most probably the majority at the end of the round for the sector and the benefits, or face up, which gives you the opportunity to exploit their ability on top of their influence, which is less. It's only 1 versus 2. Things like that, minor things like that, that they build up on a very, very robust design and provide a very, very pleasant gaming experience. I was very, very intrigued by the fact that I would say that this worker placement, I've seen worker placements with different types of workers before, but this worker placement does something different. It uses a very, very extremely makes sense and robust design framework, and it builds on that without the necessity for added complexity through details and additional rules and additional asterisks and I don't know, choices, etc. You have a lot of choices, but you have them evolving around a very, very simple core, and that makes the game shine, in my opinion. Now, the game is currently on Kickstarter. Actually, it's going to start in a few days. It's going to be currently on Kickstarter. I'm releasing this video a couple of days in advance. So I'm going to have the description of the Kickstarter campaign page linked in the information section of this video, so you can go and visit and see for yourself. They have a lot of things planned for the game as usual. The game looks gorgeous from the prototype point of view, but keep in mind that there is a lot of art missing. These are a lot of, there will be a lot of upgrades, cosmetic upgrades as well, that they're going to make only better the experience. I already loved it so far, so I can only imagine how much better it would be with the final production looks of the game. The scene and the universe is really unique. I really like animal-based games that their animals like have special abilities, they have special powers, and here they're full clans with their own peculiarities and their own strong suits and strong drives for making their clan rise among the rest. So I think that this is a game that will appeal in various types of gamer groups. It's easy, it's accessible for players who enjoy fairly simple games, not complex games, but also at the same time, I think it's really valuable, and it will be well accepted from players who enjoy more complex games. It's a bit strange. I think it's this golden, I would say, recipe that works for everybody. But in any case, I'm going to show you how the game works. I'm going to explain all the details now in the video. I will be very scholastic, so I'm going to show you everything. The main rule set is very simple. And then I'm going to come back at the end of this video for some more details on my first sessions from the Ryozen experience. A very unique game that I really going to take a lot on the gaming table and enjoy it a lot, because it offers so much in a very different and fascinating way. So join me at the table, I'll show you how the game works, and we'll be back after the end of this explanatory video to show you all the spicy details of Ryozen. It's a busy time in the kingdom of Ryozen. Like all others, your clan has assembled the most skilled kin who can perform various tasks and bring you the honors you deserve. You'll need to make the most out of your abilities from the first day till the very last night of all 3 moon phases, making the most of your clan's ability and planning winning strategies. Each of you will do their best to gain the favor of the Radiant Phoenix, the legendary creature who rules the realm. Every lunar year, she retires into mystical sleep that regenerates her light, and at that time, the great festival of awakening is celebrated all over Ryozen. That will be the moment the best clan will be awarded. These are the final strikes, when you can prove that your clan is the most capable of doing good for the kingdom. The Radiant Phoenix is about to awaken in her mountaintop palace, which you can rotate to gain special benefits from the nearby lands. Seize the moment and do your best to obtain her favor. During her sleep, the Radiant Phoenix has dreams that shape reality around her, making her palace grow magically in size and beauty as well. Thus, at the end of the night, a new floor to the Palace of Phoenix appears, which will reach its completeness only upon her awakening. Welcome to this Kickstarter preview video for Ryozen. Ryozen is a 2-4 worker placement game with layered rotating board, multiple scoring, resources engines, and various aspects that set you in a fantasy world of mystical forces and virtuous animals with extraordinary abilities. In Ryozen, the connection is always at a high pace for all players between themselves and the land they evolve and work around. So the board is divided into sectors that provide different sets of possible actions, but only for a limited number of available placements. Secure the best places for your king to gather and manage resources, recruit more allies with asymmetrical abilities, influence the tiebreaker, and collect cards to improve your strategy. The turn flow runs smoothly from the very beginning, with immediate placement abilities and effects during the day and global rewards redeemed sector by sector during the night. Never lose sight of your rivals and strive for the highest favor. Hands down, I'm really impressed by this game, both from its simplicity but from its depth as well. It has very simple rule set, but offers very interesting choices to the players. So without delaying, let's move forward to familiarize ourselves with the components of the game. Keep in mind that this is a prototype. That means that some of the things that you see may also appear in the final production, but there is a lot of art still under progress. Things are going to become better and better during the production and the finalization of the development of the game. But the game is very robust in terms of gameplay and how it works. For example, this 3D cardboard palace, which I'm going to show you up close in a bit, is going to be part in the Kickstarter final production of the game. I mean, Tabula Games is known for the high quality products they put out, and we really love them for that. So let's go ahead and familiarize ourselves with the components of the game. First of all, we have a game board, which is double-sided depending on the number of players. We have a circular board, which is also double-sided, again depending on the number of players, and this is used at the center with a plastic spinner. And it's also worth mentioning, because usually I've seen it many times in the final production of games which have additional rotating boards. This plastic spinner is usually useless. Here, even from the prototype, they have done some tremendous, I suppose, research, and this really works well. So I'm going to come back to this in a bit and how it works. This is the Phoenix Palace, which is pre-constructed, and it's going to come in all of the versions of the game, but keep in mind that also a lot of things may change in terms of art, I suppose, etc. This denotes simply the 3 rounds of the game that you see when at the end of the 3rd round you have the completion of the palace. This looks gorgeous. It doesn't serve any other purpose other than making us blink our eyes because it looks really nice. So for the moment we start with the 1st level only and we place it over there. Then we have one shrine tile. Again, those are prototype components, so it's going to be much more detailed, the art, and complete, I would say. There are 8 village tiles there, which are going to also include graphics. We have 74 resources, which includes 32 coins, 24 scrolls, and 18 lanterns. There are also various cards in the game. We have 32 revelation cards with this back, and there are some already spread for you there. We have 16 event cards. This is the event deck that we're going to have events being placed at the gate, and we're going to explain later on. We have 60 kin tiles, 15 for each of one of the 4 clans, and I have set on the side the starting kin that we'll take for each of the 4 colors, the 4 players, so blue, purple, green, and orange. And they also have additional ones to recruit during the game. We have the Herald token and the Favor token. You use one from each player to denote the favor, the prestige, the victory points you get throughout the game. One is set there for the tiebreaker at the palace, and you have also the Pioneer token, which is going to start here at the realm and explore and build various villages at the borders and the suburbs of the kingdom. You also have 36 moon shards in 3 different colors that you see there, 1, 2, 3. The first player token, and that's what you get, and the additional, of course, kin members from your clan. So let's see the game overview. In a game of Ryozen, players confront each other over the course of 3 rounds. Each round is composed of 3 main phases. So in each of those rounds we have 3 phases, which are the daytime, the nighttime, and the dawn. During the daytime, players alternate to perform turns, placing their kin tokens on their available slots of the 6 sectors of the kingdom, and the palace as well, triggering by doing so daytime effects and ensuring their influence on each sector for the upcoming nighttime phase, so they're getting prepared for the nighttime phase essentially. During the nighttime phase, players compare their influence they have gained in each sector during the daytime phase, redeeming their corresponding nighttime reward and majority reward, then entering the next phase, the dawn phase, when the round comes to the end and players take back all their kin tokens. So how do we win the game? At the end of the 3rd round, the game ends and the final scoring takes place. The player who obtained the most favor wins the game. The game is extremely simple, but we're going to spend some time to explain all the details and all the aspects of each of the components so that you get a deep understanding of everything. But bear in mind that I'm just going to be very scholastic so that I give you all the details you want to know about Ryozen. So first of all, we have the game map. The game board consists of 2 boards assembled together with a spinner, the main board, and the Ryozen realm, which is this one. Again, it's 2-sided. You can see that there are different number of slots essentially to balance out the different player count. So one side, the opposite one, is for 2 players and has the least spots for king, these square circles, square spots, and then this side, which is for 3 and 4 players, that is used for the 3 and 4 players respectively, with more spaces for the king. But the second thing that you also get is this second board. Again, there is art missing on this board. Keep in mind that this is prototype, so it's going to be with nice art depicting the kingdom itself and the surroundings of the palace. So essentially, in this circular secondary board, what you have is the rotating board, which is holding the Phoenix Palace on its top. Again, I'm going to explain this during setup, but this is going to be used for a 2-player game, and this side is going to be used for 4-player game respectively. So you assemble the board, you rotate it so that it shows the gates that they're going to have illustration for those 3 spaces, and then you place on top of it the first portion of the Phoenix Palace. Keep in mind it has 2 more, but they're going to come on top at the end of round 2 and at the beginning of round 2 and beginning of round 3. Now, what about the Ryozen realm? Let's see and focus on the board. The Ryozen realm is divided in 6 main sectors. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each of those have a triangle that you can see connecting as a piece through the circular realm itself. The Ryozen realm is divided, as I said, in 6 main sectors, and each of them indicates 2 main benefits: the daytime effect and the nighttime rewards. So you can see the daytime effect, which also is included in the inner circle. So for example, for the capital, which is this sector, the daytime effect is here, and the nighttime effect is there on the outer border. Same here, daytime effect and nighttime reward. For you to remember, you can see that the inner circle has the daylight symbol and the cross sections, while the outer circle has the nighttime symbol. Each sector also includes a variable number of spots representing the only way into the sectors for the king. Each spot can host not more than 1 king, meaning that, for example, here I can only place 1 king, 1 king, 1 king, and second or third from the same player or a different player. But you cannot have more than 1 king on each of those squares. The Phoenix Palace. The Phoenix Palace is a marvel, as you can see, and it has no spots, but it can still host king with no limit in the number of king tokens that you can place there. When you place king tokens on this area, you just simply place them around. It doesn't matter where you place them, and you can have as many as you want on the Phoenix Palace board itself. We're going to come back to this in a bit. So, next is the sectors. Let's pull the camera up. We have the gates, which is this sector over there. They overlook the piece of the realm and prevent the most threatening events from happening, or let them be so that they are exploited for the consequences. And it has, in the 4-player setup that I'm going to explain later, 2 spots. And here are spots for the event cards that are going to come from this pool. Then we have the capital, which is this area here. Ensure yourself at an advantageous position for majority disputes to come, because this is a tiebreaker for influence. So when 2 players have the same influence, the person who's higher on this ladder, meaning closer to spot number 1, has the tiebreaker. Then we have the rim, which is this sector over there. You explore the borderlands of the realm, build villages from this pile, and gain new opportunities. Then you have the shrine over there, which is linked with this statue over there. You visit the newly built villages and gain benefits from the glory of the shrine. And then you expose your clan for all the marvelous work that they're doing throughout the kingdom. Then you have the springs, which is this sector. You meditate by the water, and you find inspiration for elevations, which are these cards that you can acquire. that you can help you with your tasks, either by discarding them and getting favor points, victory points, or keeping them for their abilities, as we're going to see. And last but not least, we have the clan house, which is this sector over there. You support your aspiring king in learning their unique skills and recruit the very best out of them. So you acquire more more asymmetrical king from your clan with special abilities that are very, very unique and very, very handy. Last but not least, the Phoenix Palace itself. You pay homage to the Radiant Phoenix and assist the rotation of the palace, but where will the light be cast? Because there you're going to have access to their actions and rewards. A word about the king. Each clan's king has two sides, the unveiled and the clocked side. So for example, each token that you have, it has the unveiled, which shows the type of king that you have, and the clocked one, which is the same for all of your king tokens. The unveiled side features the specific king's name and ability, while the clocked side is the same for all king and features placement cost as a reminder that you need to spend a coin to place it, and also gives you more influence. All unveiled king, like those, count as one influence on a sector, while all clocked king, like those, count as two influences on a sector. We're going to explain those during the nighttime phase. If a clocked king gets hit, you flip its tile to the unveiled side. If an unveiled king gets hit, then you move it to the Phoenix Palace at the center of the board, and the king needs to recover but still provides the influence for the night phase over there. All king are eager to do good for the realm, but keep in mind that the contention between the clans is now more heated than ever, and they may even become hostile to each other. Some kin are trained in combat and can hit other kin by defeating them and otherwise putting them in trouble. So we're going to come back to the abilities of the different kin tokens. Keep in mind that the appendices are the generic ones, that they have no special ability. So let's now go to focus on resources. There are three main resources in Ryozen, and they are considered to be unlimited. Whenever a player gains resources, they're always taking them from the general supply. Similarly, when a player spends resources, they must return it to the general supply. The three different resources that you find are coins, lanterns, and scrolls, respectively. We also have moon shards. Moon shards are, of course, of three types. We have the agate moon, the coral moon, and the jade moon. And respectively, you can differentiate them by color. These are the agate, these are the coral one, and these are the jade ones with different colors. Moon shards are rewards that can be gained during every nighttime phase through majorities, and once acquired, they are gathered in the player area. In a Ryozen game, moon shards are considered to be unlimited, and you want to have different sets at the end of the game because they provide you additional victory points. Then we have the revelation cards, which are those over there. This is the back of the revelation card, and these are three face up already in the spring section. Players can acquire revelation cards in the spring sector, and once acquired, revelation cards can either be immediately discarded to gain the indicated amount of favor points with this symbol, or placed face up in the player area to benefit from their effect according to their description moving forward. Then we have the event cards. Event cards are revealed at the beginning of every new round in the gate sector, and at the beginning of every nighttime phase. All the effects of the event cards that are still on board and have not been discarded from the players with their actions must be resolved by all players. Then the event cards are discarded. This is the pile and the discard pile, and here are the slots that are going to be filled at each round with events for players to deal with. Then we have the village tiles that are placed over there. Village tiles represent burgs to be built in the suburbs. They award favor points to the player who builds them and provide new special powers effects to all those who explore them with their pioneer pieces. So when they're built on these slots, and they provide victory points for paying and building them. And when you explore and you have your pioneer token next to them, then you also grab their benefits as well. Now let's move to the game setup. First, we follow the instructions depicted in the rulebook in order to set the game according to the number of players. What we do is we need to assemble the board and the circular section board together with a plastic spinner according to the number of players. For a 2-player game, we flip the game board to the side with the least kin spots and the Phoenix Palace to the side with the 2 highlights. This is unfortunately the side with the most kin spots, so I'm not going to flip it now just for the sake of saving time, but it's the opposite side of this board. And then for the circular board, we need to choose the ones with the 2 highlights. One highlight and another one here. Again, this is prototype, so you're going to have art on this. It's going to make it even better, but this is going to be the setup, flipped side of this board plus this side of the circular board for the 2-player game. For a 3-player game, we flip the game board to the side with the most kin spots, so this one, and we still maintain the circular board with the side with the 2 highlights, as seen here. And finally, for the 4-player game, which is what I'm setting up here, I'm flipping the board to the side with the most kin space, like this one, and setting the circular board from the side that has 3 highlights instead of 2, and clicking with the spinner. Amazing, really. Hope many more companies use this type of spinner, plastic spinner for the lock, to set it up accordingly. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up the board and the circular smaller board accordingly, and then we're going to assemble the 3 pieces of the cardboard palace. First of all, we're going to set, I have already assembled the base part of the palace, which is very easy to do so, okay? And you're going to place it in the center, and you're going to assemble the 2 additional ones that they go on level 2 and level 3, but you're not going to place them now. You're going to do that moving forward in the course of the game. For the moment, place them aside as such. Then the next thing we do is we take all the moon shards from the box and we divide them by color and place them in the nearby section. So 3 colors for the 3 different shards. We select the player who has most recently seen a phoenix, real or fictional, and I like to have someone giving me some information about their last encounter for a real phoenix. That will be awesome. That player goes first and receives the first player token, which is this one. And of course, then the order play follows clockwise. Then each player chooses a clan and places their starting set of kin in front of them. All of them unveiled side up, meaning not clocked. For a 2-player game, we use 6 kin set, which are consisted of 5 apprentices. Let me show you an apprentice up close. Again, may change to the final art, but this is more or less how an apprentice looks like. So for a 2-player game, 6 of those plus 1 fighter, and this is the fighter token. All of the players will have the same. In a 3 or 4-player game, we use 5 kin set, which is consisted of 4 apprentices and 1 fighter. Essentially, we use 1 apprentice less per clan and we return it back to the box. So this is a 4-player game, so you see this is the blue player, there are 4 apprentices and the fighter, the purple, the green and the orange over there. Then we take the resources from the box, we divide them by type, lanterns, gold and scrolls, and each player takes 6 scroll, what you see there, 4 coins and 2 lanterns. Then each player places their favor token on the 0 space of the favor track over there. The favor track goes around the board for tracking the score. Following that, the first player places their herald token on the first slot, the Latin one, on the capital track over there. So this is the first player. The second goes there, the third and the fourth subsequently. Following that, each player takes the remaining king tiles that they are not in their possession yet from their clan, they shuffle them and they place them face down, forming clan piles per clan. So the blue, the purple, and the additional third and fourth clan that you see there, these are stacks face down on this section of the kingdom. In order of play, each player reveals the top one from their pile and places them in the first available slot of the clan house, starting from the lower cost spot, which is this one, because you see here you have higher cost, here is a lower cost. So this is the line where you accommodate the clan tiles. So each player is going to have one there, following again the player turn order, which is the capital turn order and the player turn order, which is here at the start of the game. So orange, purple, green and blue, and the same goes here as well. Then we take the shrine tile, which is this one, and it's going to have also art of the shrine. So this is prototype again. We take this one and we place it on the side of the shrine sector as shown here. And the last thing that we do is we take all the village tiles, we shuffle them and we place them next to the rim sector face up. So these are the village tiles, which again are prototype, and they're going to have also additional art there. Each player places their pioneer token as shown here over there, and for a two-player game you take the first tile from the village pile and you place it on the first empty site next to the starting village. These are the villages that are going to be placed one next to the other. Then we take all 16 event cards, we shuffle them and place them face down on the respective event section on close to the gates sector. And finally we take all the revelation cards, which are those, we shuffle them and we place them face down on the first spot, which is the deck holder, and then we open face up 3 cards, put them randomly in those 3 spaces there to create the offer of the revelation cards. Now you're ready to start the game. How to play? A game of Ryozen is played over the course of 3 rounds, as I have mentioned before. Each round is composed of 3 phases: daytime phase, nighttime phase and dawn phase. Now let's take a closer look on each of those 3 phases. We start with the day phase, the daytime phase. The daytime phase follows the steps explained now, which they consist of the events setup and the player's turn. First of all, the event setup. At the beginning of the daytime phase, we reveal cards from the top of the event deck and place them face up in the respective event slots. If the event deck ever runs out, then we shuffle the discard pile and create a new event deck. That means that at this step, I'm going to take cards from this pile and place them on the 4 slots over there, so that we have 4 event cards awaiting at the gate sector. After the event setup, players take turns starting from the first player in a clockwise order, and during the player's turn, what you do first of all is you resolve all at the beginning of your turn abilities that you may have from cards, revelation cards that you may have acquired, for example, and then you proceed with the following actions: kin placement and daytime resolution. So, kin placement. At the beginning of their turn, the player must place one of their kin tokens from their hand into one available spot of a sector or straight into the Phoenix Palace. Unlike the sectors, there is no limit to the number of kin that you can have at the Phoenix Palace belonging to the same player or other players, or collectively all of them together. Some spots have a resource icon depicted on them, indicating that these are paid spots, and to place a kin in that specific spot, you must pay the indicated resource. For example, if I want to place here, I need to pay 1 coin, 1 scroll, 1 lantern, etc. In the sector's spots, kin can be placed either with the revealed side or with the clocked side. So either unveiled or clocked. When you place unveiled, you may immediately perform the kin's ability for this specific one. And in this one case, you have no ability for the apprentice, but for example, this one has a special ability. So when you place a kin token unveiled, you may immediately perform the kin's ability. If you place a kin token clocked, face down that is, then you need to spend 1 coin to place that kin, and that's always reminded because all of the kin tokens have 1 coin cost at the back, and they have the same art as well, just showing the color of the player they belong to. In the Phoenix Palace, kin can be placed unveiled, however, they won't perform their placement abilities. So you cannot place clocked kin on the circular board of the Phoenix Palace. You can only place them unveiled, face up. Okay. Keep in mind that there are no spots there, so you have no limitation on how many you can place, but when you do place them unveiled on the circular Phoenix board Palace sector, which is the circle at the center, you don't perform the abilities of those. So for example, for this case, I wouldn't perform the ability of the fighter or whatever other kin I would place, because it doesn't apply. It only applies on the sectors outside the Phoenix Palace. Now, discuss the kin placement, let's discuss the daytime effect resolution. Regardless of where you place your kin, whether on a spot of the 6 sectors or on the palace, you can now perform the daytime effect. The Phoenix Place provides you 2 different daytime effects that players can choose between. They can either gain 1 resource of any kind, then rotate the palace 1 sector clockwise, or pay 1 lantern to perform the daytime effect of one of the highlighted sectors and then rotate the palace 1 sector clockwise. And the respective sectors on the outer rim, they have their own daytime effects that they provide you. So for example, here is the daytime effect of this sector, here's the daytime effect of that sector, and within this circle, for each of the sectors, you find the daytime effect there. Respectively, the Phoenix Palace provides 2 options. So let me rotate it so that you can see. You can either pay, as I said, 1 lantern, and then you gain 1 resource of your choice. Let me recap. You can either gain 1 resource of your choice, either lantern or gold coin or scroll, and then you rotate the board 1 space clockwise, or you pay instead 1 lantern, and then you choose one of the highlighted daytime effects of the sections that are being highlighted. And here to show you, that means I can either select this one because it's highlighted, that one on top it's not off screen, and this one which is there. So those highlighted show towards the daytime effects of 3 of the 6 sectors. So when you pay lantern, you pick one of the 3 and then you rotate the board again. So for example, for this case, if I were to place a kin here, I would pay 1 scroll because there is a cost on this spot. I would place it there, and then I would be able to resolve the daytime effect of this sector. And we're going to go back at the end of this video and explain all the bonuses and all the icons, which are going to make perfect sense in a bit. After resolving the daytime effect, the current player's turn is over and the player to the right begins their turn. Once the last player has placed their last kin token and resolved their last daytime effect, then we proceed to the nighttime phase. The nighttime phase. The nighttime phase follows 2 steps. First of all, we have the events resolution. So the events that are still face up there are going to be resolved. And then we have the nighttime effect resolution. So first of all, the events resolution is very simple. As the nighttime phase begins, we resolve all the foreseen events left face up in the gate sector. Keep in mind that during the game, players will try to discard by placement, by daytime effects, for example, some of those event cards there, because they're going to avoid their resolution. And so you're not going to have necessarily 4 cards if players try to use the abilities to discard event cards, you're going to have less event cards face up there. In any case, event cards affect all players, including those who haven't placed any key in their gate sector. All the events left in the gates must be resolved from left to right, so you will start from this one and then we resolve this one and this one and that one. First of all, we start from the first one and all the players resolve the first event, starting with the first player and proceeding clockwise order. In clockwise order, each player resolves the effect of the leftmost event card and then we discard it. Subsequently, we move to the second event card, which is available, maybe this one. If it was blank, then going to the third one, and do the same, starting with the first player and proceeding clockwise. So there you have it. These are different things that they may happen, and they're going to affect the course of the game. So each player loses one resource of any kind. You lose one revelation card. You may discard one coral moon shard. Ouch. Each player discards one jade moon shard. So things that you have acquired. So these are most of the time negative things that you want to avoid in order to not pay the penalty. So you may focus on playing king on this section to get those that damage you most out of the common threat. Nighttime effects resolution. During the nighttime phase, all players compare their influence they obtained during the day on every single sector and on the palace, seeking for majorities. Starting with the gates and proceeding clockwise, players check and compare their influence in every sector once at a time. A player can be eligible for the nighttime reward of a specific sector if at least one of their kin is in that sector at the beginning of the nighttime phase. So in this case, we have the orange player and the green player in this sector, so only those two are eligible for the nighttime effect award. The rest of the clans are out of the sector and they don't have a say on gaining anything there. So, starting with the gates and going sector by sector, when we compare influences, each unveiled face-down kin, face-up kin contributes one influence to the player's influence in the total influence that they have for the sector, while each clocked face-down kin contributes two. So in this case, the orange player has one influence and the green player has two influence. That means that the green player wins the majority there. The player with the more influence will gain the additional bonus of the sector, while both of them will gain the nighttime award. So both of them, both the orange and the green, are going to gain 4 victory points, but the one who has the most influence, in this case the green one, is going to additionally gain 1 coral shard from the pool. And keep in mind that coral shards in general are very, very precious, because sets of different shards provide a lot of victory points at the end of the game. I'm showing you this sector now because, for example, here both the blue player and the orange player, and I'm flipping it to see the color because it's not visible easily on this prototype, but keep in mind that they're going to have color borders on the tiles, so this is something that they have corrected, so that's 2 thumbs up from me as well. Checking for influence, the blue player has 2 influence, and the same goes with the orange player who has 2 influence. So both the blue and the orange are going to gain 1 coin, but who is going to gain the shard, this shard? Then when we have a tie for the influence, we go back and we check what's going on at the capital sector. And you see, even though the blue and the orange had the same influence previously, the orange one is higher up on the ladder in the capital, so they break the tie and they win the shard awarded from that sector. When the clan house nighttime rewards have been redeemed, which is the last one in the circle of the kingdom, the one that I was showing you before, then there is another clash to resolve. The Radiant Phoenix of Ryozen claims attention and honor for your presence. So players finally compare their influence in the Phoenix Palace, in the circular board in the center of the table. They compare it with all their kin competing for majority. Keep in mind that now that we cannot have clocked ones as rules prohibit us from placing clock ones over there. So all tokens contribute 1 influence in total. So we check all the circular board all around it for placement of tokens, kin tokens from the players, and the player which has the highest total score will, in addition to the rewards that all of the players will gain 1 shard of their choice. So players will gain favor points for each of their kin in their Phoenix Palace. So if I had 3, I would get 3 victory points. If I had 4, I would gain 4 victory points. The same goes for all players which have presence on the palace, Phoenix Palace. But the one who has the most influence in total, and you break down ties again with the capital, in addition to the victory points, they also gain 1 shard of their choice. And it's also very important because you can match it to make the different sets for the VP, for the set collection at the end. The third and last phase in each round is the dawn phase. In case you are playing the third round of the game, you proceed directly to the end of the game. Otherwise, players take their kin from the board, you take back all of their kin tokens from the sectors and the palace back into their play area, including the ones in the Phoenix Palace, as I mentioned, and a new round begins, and you may add a new floor to the Phoenix Palace to indicate that you are now playing the second round or the third round if you added the last one on the top. The golden rule is simple. Every time 2 or more effects should take place at the same time, the player whose turn has now to play can decide in which order they want to resolve their effects. If an effect involves more than 1 player, each player resolves their effect according to their turn order, starting from the first player who has the first player token, which is this one, I remind you, and going clockwise around the table. The end of the game. Right after the third nighttime phase, the game is over. The final scoring takes place and players score additional favor points to the ones that they have accumulated throughout the course of the game based on the following aspects. 4. Each set of 3 moon shards of the same color, you score 9 favor points. So you have 3 jade ones or 3 coral ones or whatever, 3 of the same. I gain for each 3 of those of the same color 9 favor points. For each set of 3 moon shards of different color, I score 6 favor points. So if I have 1 plus 1 plus 1, all 3 of them different, then I gain 6 favor points. For each moon shard that it's not matched and it's on its own, I gain simply 1 favor point. And the first player token, which again I remind you it's this one, keep in mind that it can be used as a moon shard of any color at the end of the game, so to make your sets work better. For each set of 3 resources, players gain 3 favor points. They need to be of the same kind, so 3 coins, 3 lanterns or 3 scrolls in order to give us 3 favor points. Moon shards and resources are valid once for 1 set, so you cannot count them both for having 3 of the same and having 1 of each. So you just pick what gives you more favor points, obviously. The player with the most favor points wins the game, and in case of a tie, we refer to the capital sector. The player with the highest rank on the capital wins the game and is declared the winner of Ryozen. Now let's make a quick reference on the game board sectors. First of all, we have the gate, which is this area over here. The daytime effect listed here means that you gain 1 lantern and you may discard 1 foreseen event card from the ones above. And the nighttime effect, which is there, means that all players with at least 1 influence, they gain 4 favor points, and the player with the most influence also gains 1 coral moon shard for themselves. Next is the capital. The daytime effect of the capital is very simple. You gain 1 scroll and you move your herald token, which is this one, all the way to the top, to the very top. So if I was the blue player now wins, makes a placement and then has a daytime effect, then they take 1 scroll and they take this one, they move it all the way up and they shift the remaining ones below. So they become first in the capital order. The nighttime effect, which is over there, says that all players with at least 1 influence in the sector, they are awarded 2 favor points, and the one who has the most influence, they also gain 1 coral moon shard respectively. Next is the rim. The daytime effect over there is very important. You may either explore a village and then build a new one, or explore 2 villages with your clan. So either explore and build, or explore 2 villages with your clan. These are the clan tokens and your pioneers. To explore, you advance your pioneer token on up to 2 villages, and the pioneer cannot advance on empty village sites and cannot move more than 2 steps in total. If your pioneer ends or begins its first movement next to a village site, you can build a new village. To build a new village, you must pay the amount of resources indicated in the village site. You see, these are the requirements for building. Then you reveal the top village tile from the rim stack and place it on the empty village site next to your pioneer, your token, and finally you move your pioneer on it. The last slot, which is at the end of this row of slots over there, basically represents the access stairway to the Phoenix Shrine, and when your pioneer arrives at the stairway, they can still advance, but the build action is now applied to repair the stairway. By doing so, you will have access to that sanctuary and all the benefits it grants. And when all villages of the rim have been built, instead of building a new village, you flip the shrine tile and treat it as a village. So you'll flip it and treat it as a village respectively. Going back to the rim, because the row for village slots extends to the next sector. Going back to the rim, the nighttime effect, all players with at least 1 influence in this sector, they gain 1 scroll, and the player with the most influence, they also gain 1 Jade Moon shard. Fourth one in the row is a shrine. The daytime effect described here is that if there is an already built village next to your pioneer, you may explore it by moving your pioneer onto that village tile. In any case, you may choose one of the villages you already explored, any village from the starting village to the one that your pioneer is located on, and gain its benefits, all the ones that have been built behind you. And the nighttime effect over there, all players with at least 1 influence gain 1 resource of their choice, and the player with the most influence also gains 1 Jade Moon shard respectively. Then we have the 5th spot, which is the 5th sector, and there are the springs. The daytime effect is very simple. You may acquire 1 or 2. I think there must be a misprint there, but the rulebook refers to 1 or 2 revelation cards by paying the cost in scrolls indicated on the top right corner of each card. That's why you need the scrolls, because you have been wondering what to do with the scrolls. So 1 scroll, 1 scroll, or 3 scrolls. So depending how strong the card is, it gives you more either favor points or better ability. So you can acquire 1 or 2 revelation cards by paying the required scrolls from the display of those cards respectively. For each revelation card acquired, you can either discard it and gain the favor points as indicated on the card itself. So for example, this one will give me 1 favor point, or this one is going to give me 3 victory points, 3 favor points, okay? Or I can forego having the victory points, and then I keep the card, but I can use it and benefit from its ability moving forward. After every time a player acquires 1 or more revelation cards, you reveal new cards from the revelation deck to refill the empty spaces. And the nighttime effect is very simple. All players there are gaining 1 lantern, and the person who has the most influence in total at the day-night effect, they gain 1 moon, a Jade Moon shard as well. Then we have the clan house over there. The daytime effect of the clan house is very simple. You may reveal a kin in the clan house, so you pick up 1 from your clan and you reveal it. You may acquire any 1 ready kin on your color from the clan house display, which is this one, and you pay, of course, the cost, and you gain the favor points as depicted. So if it's over there, you're going to pay 3 coins and gain 3 favor points as well from the display. To reveal a kin card, a kin token, you take 1 kin from your kin pile and you place it looking for a slot starting from left to right to the most to the first available slot there. If there are none, because they're all occupied, you discard the first kin in the row, and then you slide all the other ones to the left and place your new king as a last slot. Now your king is considered ready. To acquire a ready kin from the clan house, you pay the indicated amount of coins indicated in the top right corner of the slot, which is located, and then the newly acquired kin will replace one of your kin. You can either replace a kin in your hand or a kin on your board, on the board. If it's placed on the board, the new kin must respect the positioning, meaning if it was unveiled or clocked, but you will not perform the placement ability nor pay for coin in that case. But the discarded kin goes back to the box. Then you gain the favor points indicated in the top right corner of the slot where you recruited the kin from, as shown there. The nighttime effect, all players with at least one influence gain 1 coin, and the person with the most influence, they also gain 1 agate moon shard as well. As I explained before, the nighttime, the Phoenix Palace has the daytime effect and the nighttime effect. For the daytime effect, you may either gain 1 resource of any kind and then perform rotate the palace 1 step clockwise, or pay 1 lantern in order to perform any one of the 3, in this case because we're playing a 3 or 4 player game, highlighted focused daytime effects that those highlights are showing towards, and then you rotate it again 1 step clockwise. The nighttime effect, for a 2 or 3 player games, you gain 1 favor point for each kin you have placed in the palace, and the player with the most influence also gets the first player token. For the 4 player game, which is this one, each player gains 1 favor point for each of their kin placed on the palace, and in addition, the person with the most influence gets the first player token as well. But the difference is that everybody gets also a shard of their choice. So, 4 players game, I'm recapping. Each player gains 1 favor point for each kin they have placed in the palace and 1 moon shard of their choice. The player with the most influence, in addition, they get also the first player token. The village styles vary and they give different benefits. For example, you can gain 1 resource of each kind. You can gain 2 scrolls. You can gain 2 lanterns. You can gain 1 favor point for each revelation card you own. You can gain 1 resource of any kind for each event card in the event discard pile. You can activate the nighttime effect of a sector currently highlighted by the palace. This applies for all players who have at least 1 kin placed in that sector. You can move 1 of your unveiled kin from the current spot onto an empty spot of a different sector at no cost, and neither kin's ability are performed nor daytime effects are triggered. Or you can clock 1 of your unveiled kin at no cost. The shrine tile allows you to spend 1 coin, 1 scroll and 1 spark, 1 lantern that is, in order to gain 7 favor coins and flip the tile. And last but not least, you can have the kin abilities. The apprentice has no abilities. The diplomat lets you move 1 of your kins from an adjacent sector to a free spot on this sector at no cost. The merchant allows you to gain 1 resource of any kind and 1 coin. The philosopher allows you to acquire a revelation card, pay the cost in scrolls as usual. The archer, I think the archer is this one. So the archer allows you to hit 1 kin on the opposite sector. The pathfinder, you may either explore an already built village or earn the benefits of one of your pioneers, your pioneer is currently on. The entertainer allows you to clock 1 kin in an adjacent sector at no cost. Then you have the clairvoyant. You may either discard an event card or return the top card of the event's discard pile back into the empty foreseen slot. Then you have the fighter. The fighter allows you to hit 1 kin in the fighter's same sector. Then you have the mentor. The mentor allows you to activate the clan house daytime effect. And the trickster, the last one, perform the ability of 1 of your ready kin in the clan house as if the trickster had that ability, it's himself. So there you have it. Now you know everything you need to know about Ryozen. A very, very simple game to get behind with lots of tweaks, a nice gameplay, great flow, and fantastic table presence as well. Okay, I usually don't do comparison of Kickstarter preview videos for games that they didn't have the luxury of running out in the wild and shining with other games that they are already out there. But I think this is going to be done, I'm going to do now as an exception so that I give you some more insight and you understand the beautiful levels of the game. The game has a lot of interesting cool ideas, and for example, the fact that you have a 5-member clan that you manage, that you upgrade, that you have to work in order to make it more asymmetric, because you only have one fighter and you have 5 apprentices, but you're trying to make them different. So you can add a diplomat, you can add a philosopher, you can add an archer, which for example attacks an opposite section from where you're placing it and exterminating an opponent. And you don't want to exterminate different clan tokens because at the end of the day of the round you're fighting for influence or majorities in order to gain the shard on top of the benefits. Everybody gets the benefits if they have presence, but you want to get those precious shards because at the end of the game, in addition to the victory points that you will have accumulated, you're going to need to do different set collection for the 3 types of shards to award you many more victory points. I like the fact that you can focus on different things on the game, like focusing on various sectors, like the sector where you develop the village tiles and give you immediate benefits, but also additional things for you to gain. The revelation cards, which gives you a lot of opportunities for either, again, immediate victory points if you discard them, or ongoing abilities. The clan house, where you can upgrade your clan member pool, your gang essentially, to make it more unique. And in this case, it reminds me of Lockup, another beautiful game, which again had a hidden placement of the different types of workers with different value essentially, so that you can win the spot and the reward. But here you can either have hidden placement or unhidden placement, where you have to balance, do I want to have more influence to gain the shard at the end, or do I want to get this really nice extra ability and benefit that the face-up placement provides me. It also reminded me of games like Everdell, which of course you don't have the card play so much in there because you don't do the engine building via the cards. You do a bit of engine building here, but you have the animals making their strong presence on the kingdom, because it's an animal-driven game where animals are elevated, clever, intelligent. I like when I see this approach in the games, for sure. I'm sure other among you share the same experience and the same wish list. I also enjoy the fact that the worker placement is, I would say, layered in the way that you're placing your clan token to get something immediate, either face up or face down with additional modifications, and then you are preparing yourself for the night phase, where you're going to get a secondary set of rewards, let's say, which are also important. The manipulation of the palace is very simple. I really enjoyed the fact that you can pay lanterns to expose yourself to a better variety of additional daylight effects instead of what you are only in the location where you're placing. The game has a lot of nice interaction, either direct or indirect, and this is a huge plus in my opinion, because this type of games tend to be, I would say, sit around my corner and do my own stuff. Here, no. Not only you grab the precious spots, because it's you go first, you take the spot before the other players, but you can really hurt them occasionally when you are placing archers, fighters, or other people who displace the clan tokens. Not too much, so that it makes it chaotic, just enough so that you can have interaction and you're not just making your own plans and just trying to execute them and just rushing to make it before the other players. So really nice, both direct and indirect interaction in this game. Again, another comparison would be with Anachrony. Okay, Anachrony is a far more complex game that I enjoy, and it's really nice, where we have different types of workers, and that's why I'm bringing this up. Here we also have different types of workers, and here also, like Anachrony, we have to work ourselves to make the effort to gain the additional different types of workers, get more, which are better. Not only more, but more different ones as well. But I think it's done here on a more streamlined way. Of course, there are different games, I'm not comparing them one versus one. But I also like the fact of the different type of workers that comes and brings a lot of interesting choices and a lot of decisions for us to make. The next thing that I also want to highlight is the fact that the game runs smooth. Your turn is very fast, you just make a placement, get the rewards, then it's the next player's turn. So there's not a lot of downtime. And in addition to that, the scoring is very interesting. There is a lot of tension right up to the end in order to see what you're going to score. The events are really nice because it's a bit strange. You have the upcoming events, and if you go and make the effort to make placements and discard them, you will not only benefit yourself, but you will benefit the other players because they're not going to be impacted as well. So you can either, I don't know, play chicken and just don't go and do anything about the events and then wait for someone else to go and do it. But if no one does it, then everyone is going to hurt. And the fact and then what players need to balance is, will I hurt more than the person next to me? And that's a really nice strategic decision to make, because if you have to discard, for example, let me say, out of an event that you ignored, a specific type of color of a shard that you have carefully managed to collect in previous rounds, and it's your third one of the same color that gives you a lot of victory points, and for me just the first one, then I'm going to let it happen because it will hurt you more, and this is really nice. So players need to be very, very vigilant and very, very careful on what other players are doing, not only because they are making the board, they squeeze the board because they're grabbing places and you have less options for your last tokens from your kin, your workers, but also because they're going to affect you differently, both directly and indirectly, with events, with other things, with their placement and the special abilities, etc. And the fact that you can also choose to put your special kin members either face up or face down really makes this game shine as well. So I have only nice things to say about the game. I'm really, really impressed. I had no doubt it will be another huge success from Tabula Games. My only complaint, mainly I would say it's more like a wish list, is I would have liked for a solo game, for a solo mode for this game. I don't know if it's in the works, I don't even know if it's feasible, but that's the only thing that I would have liked, because I really enjoyed the game so much that I would have loved sometimes to be able to play it solo as well. Definitely something you need to check out. One of the, I would say, new hot games that are going to be out, and make sure you won't miss it because it's a fantastic design. So there you have it, that's Ryozen from Tabula Games.